What's going on, folks? Episode 10. I can't believe we are already at double digits here, but that's what happens when you stay consistent, you stay busy, and you don't have much time for yourself as time starts to fly. And that's pretty much what it's been feeling like over the last couple weeks. I went pretty much dark the last 24 to 36 hours so that I can get a solid tape index update out there for you guys. Let me just make sure my guy Newsom has actually posted them. But I pretty much got every UFC event up on the tape index up until September 17th. Yes, that is now up as well. Love to see that. And then we also have the contender series for next week thrown in there. What I'm hoping to do over the next couple of days is actually complete every single UFC event that's been announced so that at least the UFCs are up there and I can just continuously keep updating those and then slowly fill in the holes with contender series, PFL, and Bellator. So appreciate everybody that's been signing up to the tape index, and I feel like I should just quickly do another quick look at it for anybody who hasn't heard of the tape index or hasn't um, seen what it is. If you like to do research on your own, if you like to do tape studying of your own, tape index is the best way to go about it. Let me just do a quick plug here for you guys. So I'm just sharing my screen. I still have my Ultimate Weigh-In Show background pulled up. Let me get rid of that real quick. There we go. Yeah, Tape Index, pretty much a one-stop shop for all of your tape studying needs. And as you guys can see here, we have PFL. I believe that's later this week. We have 278. We have next week's contender series. We have UFC Paris, UFC 279, and then UFC. I believe that's going to be Vegas 60, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so the best way to use it is obviously for like newcomers, right? That's why the contender series is very big on the tape index. And a little birdie may have told me that somebody very closely involved with the UFC production team uses the tape index, especially for the contender series. So just to give you guys a quick look here, like what we do is put every single fight that we can possibly find all over the internet of each single fighter, and we put it linked right here for you guys. So all you have to do is pull it up or bookmark the tape index, sign in, and then pull up where you want to start studying. And then you can start with, let's start with Amiron Gogoladze. You want to see his fight against Shariati? Bang, there you go. Pulled up, ready to go. So pretty much that's where it is. Then you have UFC stats, Topology, Instagram, all on one page for you guys. It's a measly $3.99 a month. A ton of value considering, especially if you put your own time into it, you save yourself time rather than having to scour the internet. There you go. PFL as well. It's all there. A lot of the PFL stuff is on random websites. So you'll have to do your thing and your due diligence. Not only do we put the link there, but we let you know exactly when the fight starts, especially if it's in one of those event video pages as well. So love the tape index. Don't know what I would do without it. Then again, it takes me a while to put together. Hence the $3.99 a month. Shout out to my guy Newsom as well, who runs MMA Play 365, and that's where we have the tape index housed. All right, there you guys go. Quick look there in regards to the what the tape index is all about. I noticed yesterday that like the streams go by so quickly. Like I usually have my rant at the beginning where I just talk about whatever the fuck, and then I get into the live chat, and then I remember yesterday when I did it, I saw the timer and it was at like 4 minutes. I'm like, okay, 4 minutes to start getting into the questions, or 6 minutes, I think it was, or something like that. And then by the time I caught up to the live chat or even got a chance to catch my breath, I looked at the time, it was like 45 minutes into the podcast. I was like, holy crap. Like, I'm enjoying this. Like, I very much am enjoying just this. I'm hoping that everybody that's taking part or listening, whether it's, live or after the fact, or even audio versions as well, appreciate everybody that's enjoying it, getting some good comments about it as well. So, yeah, we'll keep this thing rolling. Hopefully it continues to snowball into something big. but I'm not going to stop it, whether I do it or I don't do it. Appreciate it. All right, let's get into the live chat here. Mr. Always Profit in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. MPTV showing love as always. Appreciate you stopping by. Also, I just realized if that is a picture of you, for some reason I just now noticed that I'm assuming that's your kid under you. I thought that was your shirt. Now that I'm taking a closer look at it, I see that there is a child in your lap or in front of you. Hilarious. Appreciate you stopping by. Ursula in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. John in the chat as well. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Lajon Dream saying, "What artist is your shirt?" This is actually finally got my Andrew Scholes merch fashion season, whatever the fuck they're on. But yeah, this is for the infamous tour. I went to the show back in February when he was up here in Toronto. But recently, obviously, if people that follow comedy, he just released his special a couple weeks ago, and he dropped merch to go with it. So I thought I'd support him by buying one of his shirts. I love it. Great material, fits great. Can't complain. Mr. Always Prophet saying tape index is where it's at. Been doing much better researching and watching tape myself with it. There you go. I didn't pay him to say that. Appreciate the love, my friend. Rick the Ruler, appreciate you stopping by, my friend. What is going on with your day, my friend? Did y'all remove the interviews on it? So that I'm glad that you brought that up because I do want to address that in a little bit, or a bit. So the main two guys that we had was James Lynch and John Hyun Ko. When we started the partnership between those guys, John Hyun Ko pretty much stopped doing interviews because he was getting ready for his fight that he's doing, right? He's doing the whole series where he goes through his own training camp and then he has a fight in September. And that caused him to go, significantly less in regards to the amount of interviews that he's dropping. So that was one kind of red flag there. And then another one was the on the James Lynch side of things, like he was tagging me in his interviews, and that's how I was able to get the links and put them up there. But there were so many times where I was not able to get the links, or I wasn't tagged in them, and it was difficult to keep tracking them down. Not to mention all the gazillion other things that I had to do. So that kind of fell apart, and then also the lack of pushing it from those guys that I expected, right? Like I expected them to push it a little bit more, especially with us giving them a platform like that. Again, no ill will. Like they have so much on their plate as well. I don't expect them to really remember to go out there and plug the tape index as much as I expected them to. Um, yeah, and like yeah, it just didn't work out. It was more so me not being able to keep up with updating the index and the interviews whenever they drop, just because of how packed my schedule already is. So apologies for that. But I know you guys know exactly where to find those interviews should you be seeking them out. Prison Mike saying, I don't watch tape. I just picked a fighter that I wouldn't want to room within the clique. I would love to know who this Prison Mike guy is. I feel like he's somebody within the community, but I love it. I love you, Prison Mike. Lodge One Dream saying Kevin Holland announcing his fight by end of week. Hope they added him for 279, maybe him versus D Rod. That'll be a great fight, right? I would love to see Kevin Holland versus D Rod. For some reason, though, I believe, let's confirm this. I believe D Rod is a 185er. No, he is currently at welterweight. Yeah, he's been fighting at welterweight. Crazy to me that his last fight was actually Kevin Lee. I totally forgot that fight even took place. Wow. Um, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad fight. I'd be totally down with that fight. Lajwan Dream just figured that my shirt was a musical. I love me some Andrew Schultz though. Great creativity with his merch. Obviously, his podcast is great. His specials have been great. Love it. Mr. Always Prophet saying, did you watch Contender Series? Yes, I did. Nazim and Cowan came through. Also took Jose Johnson after round one plus 170. Not a good, or sorry, not a bad spot on that live jump in on Jose Johnson. In terms of predictions, I think I went 2-3. But again, like a couple of those that I lost, I truly thought were coin tosses. And I think they played out that way, right? I was right on Ribovic, Valenzuela, and Hibero. We just knew one of those guys was eventually going to drop. We just knew it, right? It ended up being Valenzuela. I hope people took the fight doesn't go to decision or the under 1.5, like I had suggested. I did pick Jack Cartwright. I hoped he was going to be the one that ends up getting his hand raised, but Jose Johnson did a good job of making him work and not really letting him settle on top. That was one of those spots where like it was control versus damage, right? And we are clearly seeing that damage is playing out more so than not. But another spot where that's the fight that I completely called wrong, right? I said Jack Cartwright and fight to not go to decision. It ends up being the complete opposite with Jose Johnson winning via decision. So completely shit the bed on that prediction. Claudia Leite and Haley Cowan, right? As close as you could expect. Very close fight, split decision, but I do think that Haley deserved that victory in that third round. That's what it came down to. I truly believe that Haley was the one that was landing the more effective strikes, causing more damage. And even though that Leite was the one that had the momentum at the end of that fight, I feel like she didn't do enough damage in that round to warrant that being scored her way. But still, very close fight. We saw the reversals, we saw the takedown attempts. I'm sure Claudia Leite will be back. But yeah, I can't believe they gave Haley Cowan a contract. Like, I don't know what data said this thing about Haley Cowan. Like, what do you mean this thing? She sucks. Okay, maybe she not sucks. Like, that's a little bit harsh, but she's not that great. She's not going to cut it in this women's division. I think she's a 135 pounder. Let me just check you real quick. I want to say 135 pounds. Yeah, 135 pounder. Yeah, like I don't see her having many favorable matchups or people that she'd be able to beat. I did get the fight goes to decision correct, which I'm happy about. Minus 165ish on that. Hopefully, people were able to cash on that. And then Sadikov, right? I said that Hassan Zada was the livest dog on the card, but we saw what happens when he actually faces resistance, or guys don't just hang out in his full guard. And Sadikov beat the crap out of him, eventually finished him. Fight doesn't go to decision, cashes there as well, minus 280. I think my recommended degenerate parlay for my Patreon members was the Ribovic money line parlay with the Hibero and Valenzuela fight doesn't go to decision. That cashes with relative ease, but I did not make it an official play since props are not widely available, and I'm not a big fan of um playing things that aren't widely available. But yeah, all in all, decent fight card. Didn't mind it. A lot of big action, a lot of big knockouts. Hey! Anybody getting flashbacks? Hey! One more time. Hey! God, I wanted to slap the fuck out of those guys. Oh, that was so annoying. MPTV saying, yes, man, that's my baby. She's 2 now. I was the stay-at-home dad. She knows your face. I tell her that you are my friend. Sick. Tell her I am your friend as well, and I hope she enjoys watching me. I'll try to keep my potty mouth to a minimum whenever I'm doing my streams. Asher Quinn, good morning to you as well, my friend. It is Thursday morning for my guy Asher Quinn over there in New Zealand. Always appreciate him starting off his day with your boy. Tristan Sharehouse in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by as well. Ryan Honer saying, hardest working MMA content creator in the biz right here. Keep up the hard work. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. By the way, speaking of hard work, right? I do my daily content. I do my Patreon content, video, all that stuff. I do my best bets and props article. But over the past 2 weeks, I've been doing write-ups for the Action Network, right? Shout out to the Action Network. Shout out to Dan Stupp as well for bringing me on board for that. And my props, they haven't been the greatest, right? I think I'm 0 for 2 on props. I think one of them was the Ji-Yoon Kim via KO plus 1,200 that didn't come to fruition against Justin Edwards. And then what's the other one? Last week, Martin Budai round 2 didn't come to fruition. Funnily enough, and I can pull up the email chain if you want me to, the first prop that I call dibs on. So what we do on a weekly basis, Dan Stubb sends out a email chain and it outlines, what the schedule is for the week. And then people reply to it saying, depending on who's on the prop squad that week, they reply to that email saying, I'm dibsing this prop. I'll be putting out a write up about it very shortly. The first prop that I dibsed was Nam via KO. And for some goddamn reason, I fell off of it because I fell in love with Martin Budai. Really thought he'd be able to get that clinch game going against fucking slop guy over there, the Polish guy, Brzeski, Lucas Brzeski. Yeah, I thought he'd be able to really rough him up, and then I did not think that Brzeski would be able to survive going into round 3. But he looked fresh, man, and he arguably won that fight. So all I'm trying to say is consolation prize. I teased the Nam via KO as my potential prop for the prop squad. I did obviously drop it for the patrons as well in terms of my best prop. My official bet, I again kicking myself for this, took 0.1 units at plus 2200 on Nam via round 3K or round 3 period. And then he goes out there and just starches O'Day Osborne in round 1. So, you know, bummed I didn't get to cash that bet officially. Happy that I called it as a prediction. But I just hope that continues to go to show that, like, we got to be wary about these prospects that continue to go out there and get these quick finishes, right? They get quick finishes or they have a mediocre or decision type of performance, and then they continue to be heavy chalk against tested veterans. That's what happened with O'Day Osborne this past weekend, right? That's what happened to Andre Fiallo a couple months ago against Jake Matthews. Like, we got to be wary of these spots, got to be wary about where we pay the chalk. David Onama, another one, right? I hope these constant weekly reminders remind you guys that you shouldn't be going out there and paying heavy chalk on guys that are, obviously depends on the opposition as well, right? Like again, Budai and Brzeski, I have an updated view of Budai now. Like I still don't mind him, and I think he still has a decent ceiling. But I hope he changes a couple of things or can go back to being the guy that he is with that cage clinch type of performance. But like I bet against a guy that is not a veteran in Brzeski, right? So again, just going back to the point of view, be very careful in terms of laying chalk or heavy chalk on guys that are still relatively unproven and them taking on high level guys. And then the last thing I want to say, yeah, props is great action network, but my co-main event write-ups, excuse me, my co-main event write-ups for action network, 2 for 2. Let's go. Both underdogs. Jeff Neal 2 weeks ago and Nate Landwehr last week. This week, co-main event is Rockhold versus Costa. I won't be making any bold underdog predictions this week. I can let you guys know that. So there's a little bit of a preview into who I'll likely be taking on that co-main event breakdown that I'll be doing. But 2 for 2, not bad so far. Let's see if I can keep that 100% prediction rate up for the Action Network. Appreciate you again, Ryan Honer, for the love and respect. John K saying, hey, what do you think about Tybura as a live dog against Romanov? I think he is. I absolutely think he is a live dog here. You know, again, another, we just talked about it, right? Romanov, he is, slightly proven, but we do have that hiccup in the Juan Espino fight where things did not seem to be going that well for him. You're getting nearly plus 300 on Marcin Tybura in this spot. Got to take a little bit of a flicker on him here because I think that he's the much more experienced fighter, way better, well-rounded, better striking. It just comes down to, can he nullify that tremendous grappling game of Alexander Romanov? But if he can get up a couple times, things could get shaky for Romanov. So I'm not laying the chalk on Romanov. Tybura is definitely the money line spot there. Urso saying Cartwright looked absolutely pathetic. Oh my god, I was screaming fight. You fucking idiot. Lost money on that bum. Yeah, not a good look for him, man. I think what it turns out to be, and I think we see this on, again, not enough, at least not enough for me to have stayed off the Cartwright side yesterday. European grappling, mainly on the Cage Warrior scene. If you look like a tremendous grappler on the Cage Warrior scene, you got to take it with a grain of salt because we know the grappling and the wrestling on that side of the world is just not as developed as it is on the North American side. So yes, he looks phenomenal. Great takedowns, and we got to give him credit. The takedowns are phenomenal. He's going to be able to control and beat some guys with that type of approach. Just not right now in the UFC. He'll have to go back to the cage warrior scene and continue to defend his bantamweight title. But yeah, not a good look for him. John K saying Hamdi versus Parker Porter added to UFC 280 People's Championship. Hashtag, am I right? I like it. And I was just about to tweet this, but I'm like, you know what? Let me save it for this podcast. But Parker Porter is the guy that we were waiting for to fade Hamdi with, not Dontel Mace. You know what I mean? I got caught with my hand in the cooking jar with Dontel Mace, but Parker Porter is the guy. I'm telling you, Parker Porter will be the guy that will fight for your money the way that you expected Dontel Mace to. Give me good money on Parker Porter, please. Father of YouTube, appreciate you stopping by. Glad I finally know what your name fucking spells out. MPTV saying, I looked over this card. I have some strong opinions about this card. Can't make up my mind on the Marab and Aldo fight. I'm leaning Aldo. Still got to finish that, honestly. That is one I'm going to be running the tape on very shortly. Lockcast, again, I was supposed to do it today, supposed to do it last night. Haven't gotten around to finishing doing the tape on it, but I hope to get it out for you guys as soon as possible. I will be doing my prediction strike video with Clint at 7:30, so in about 3 hours time. Then I'll be doing another stream at 9 o'clock with my guy Gordo Gambles, going over the full card, and I'll likely just jump right into my MMA Lockcast right after that. So we're going to be doing 4 live streams today, folks. 4 live streams, all to get this content out for you guys. And the Coach's Main Event Marathon should be released by Friday. Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Mr. Always Prophet saying, you high on any of them that got the contract? Who was I high on? Rebovics could, like, maybe he might be able to crack the top 15. It's a 155-pound division, so he has a big ladder to climb there in terms of the level of competition in that division. But out of that entire crew, I think that Rebovics could likely be the most successful. I think Sadikov has some potential as well. I don't know if it's championship potential, but I do think he has some potential. But I'd say Rebovics and Sadikov. The rest of them, I don't think they'll do that well in the UFC. I can't wait to fade Claudio Ribeiro if they give us the perfect matchup. Lajon Dream saying Leon by split at plus 2,000, Kamaru by split plus 450. Never seen a split difference like that. Man, I'd be surprised if he wins. Lajon Dream saying Dana thinks Haley attractive. That's probably what it is. Noah Allen saying he got a backstage BJ. That's probably why. Todd Clark saying signed because she's hot. Because she's hot. Only reason I could see that. Untitled New York cards. Appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Love to see your name in the chat. Todd Clark saying she'll be able to muscle more than a few. I don't know about that. Again, depends on the level of competition. Or at least the level of opponent that should be going up against. Jewish Better saying made a nice check on Sadikov. Nice. Good shit there. Is Sean Woodson handle top 10? What do you think? Are you talking about Sean Woodson or Sean Handy? I'm not sure who that is. Please reframe or redo that question. If you're talking about Sean Woodson being in the top 10, I don't think he can make it there. Asher Quinn saying, I actually quite like Haley Cowan as a prospect, always open to more bantamweight fighters. That being said, she's definitely Dana's type. You know what I mean by that. Just better saying that sounds like the Brazilians at every BJJ tournament. They just scream Aye and Boha. Yeah. I think not Boha. I think it's Pora with the H sounding R, if you know what I mean. Boha. Boha. Trevor Loden saying 2 kind of different but similar questions. What do you think about Burgos going to PFL? UFC, MMA are interchangeable at most people. Is there room for another organization to properly succeed? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Like, I think this is like a Coke amongst the soft drinks type of thing, right? A Kleenex amongst the tissue industry type of thing, where UFC will always be synonymous with MMA and being that sport, right? It will always be that. I highly doubt that there's going to be a promotion that's going to be able to make enough waves that will compete with the UFC on that level. Like, it's going to have to come down to like a Conor McGregor type guy to start his own promotion and be able to sign a lot of big guys. That's what it is. I don't think that happens for the next maybe over the next 10 years, like after that 10-year mark, maybe. but not within the next 10 years. I think the UFC just has too much of a stranglehold on it. Now, in regards to Burgos going to PFL, I spoke about this a little bit, I think, on a different chat, but I'll kind of say it again here. Are we really surprised that Burgos is signing with the PFL? Yes, like it came out of left field because nobody knew he was a free agent, right? Nobody knew that he was testing free agency, so that's why it's kind of coming out of left field. But to me, it's more so he knows what his cap was in the UFC. I think he had 11 fights in the UFC. He lost against the upper echelon of that division, of that 145-pound division. He knows he's not going to make a million in the UFC. He knows he's not going to get a title shot. He's not even sniffing a contender fight or a title contender fight. So why not take your peak years and go try to make a million over in PFL rather than getting paid? What is he getting paid? 50 and 50? 60 and 60? Maybe? Like, again, I know the UFC doesn't really release numbers, but I want to see if there is actual, like anywhere he's fought that will show us how much he actually got paid. Um, okay, the last legit one that we have of his. So the last non-estimated pay that he got was 26. No, interesting. 75 and 75. Yes, he's on a 75 and 75 contract. The last confirmed one before that was UFC 220, and he was on 22 and 22 at that time. So obviously he renegotiated after a couple wins, and he was able to secure 75 and 75. I'm not sure if the Blades and Volkov salary is correct. One second here, guys. Let me just confirm these numbers. Um, yeah, so this is when Nevada State Athletic Commission actually released salary still, and Shane Burgos got 75,000 and 75,000. Well, he lost his fight against Josh Emmett, right? So he only walked home with 75,000, but he got another fight of the night bonus, which got him 125,000. All in all, what I'm trying to say here is that like he has a chance to go make $1 million with the PFL, and he's probably getting a damn good purse doing so as well, right? If you guys remember, I think the PFL released salaries recently, and guys, some of the higher named guys that came over from the UFC were getting like 100 and 150,000. That's better than fighting 75 than fighting for 75 and 75 against tougher competition. So yeah, once you think about it all, I don't think it's that big of a shocker that Burgos decided to go to the PFL. Mr. Always Prophet saying you still think Budai can be top 15. I had Budai in a parlay. I don't mind the decision, but 100% thought judges would go 2-1 the other way. Yeah, I thought he lost that fight. I think he could get away with that, grinding style up against the cage and still crack the top 15. I think that Brzezinski just worked on it very well. Like maybe it was his height and his reach that kind of threw Badai off. Maybe he'll be able to impose his will on guys that aren't as tall as him. Tristan saying, would you say there's more line movement in MMA than other sports? I can't give you a good enough answer on that because I just don't watch watch lines for other sports as much, right? Other sports, especially team sports, we're talking about like point spreads. That's where we see the line move a lot. I can't give you a good enough answer on that, brother. Mr. Always Prophet saying, I don't think it was a robbery like everyone thinks. It was damage versus volume. You know what? I didn't even look at the MMA decisions page to see how people scored that. I thought Brzezinski won just watching it live. Yeah, pretty much all the media had Brzezinski except for one guy who had it for Budai. Fans scoring on 174 scorecards had Brzezinski winning rounds 1 and 2, and then Budai won round 3. I think for sure we can say Brzezinski won round 1 because he heard Budai. Round 3 was likely Budai, so it comes down to round 2. But yeah, volume versus power, I could definitely see that. It seemed like every time Budai landed, it was much more damaging than anything that Brzezinski threw that time. Rips and picks in the chat. Happy Wednesday, my friend. Appreciate you stopping by. Urso saying California State Athletic Commission released fight night weight for the San Diego card. Tyson Nam was the one guy that weighed more than the allowed 15%. Didn't really look like it. Wow. He carries it very well. He's a bigger 125er as well that most people don't really recognize. Azure Quinn saying, do you like Tybura decision only? I don't know what the odds are, but in terms of path to victory, I don't hate it. I like that. Let's see. Let's see what FanDuel is currently holding uh Tybura decision only. Oh, not out yet. Let's see if DraftKings has it up yet. That's not a bad way to go about it. Where is it at? Tybura. Fight props. Sorry. Alfred is sitting right beside me. He's sleeping and his tail is wagging. What a fucking cutie. Let's see. It doesn't seem like DraftKings has pretty much all of their. Oh, here it is. Decision only Marcin Tabora plus 165. Not a bad line. I don't mind that line at all. Maybe a unit on Tabora decision only and then a half unit on his money line just in case. Glad that you brought that to my attention, friend. Pons and Lawler just announced. Wow, great fight. Sounds like another free money spot fading Lawler. Probably. His chin is just not holding up that well. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I'm interested to see what the odds are going to be like there. Jewish Bear saying, when I saw Jack Cartwright won his last fight by repeated headbutts, I thought Cage Warriors was allowed headbutts and he just smashed his head into the other guy for the KO. Nah, that guy that he was fighting just had no idea how to punch or ground and pound without throwing his head. Mr. Always Prophet saying, I just finished taping Marab and Aldo. Wonder what side you're on there. Problem Kid saying that Cartwright fight was so weird, very weird. Todd Clark saying everything tells me Aldo is the better fighter, but he'll lose. Why are you so happy to just fade him so quickly? Lajon Dream saying, hell yeah, looking forward to the stream tonight. Hell yeah, brother. Hibero was so early of a stoppage, that dude gonna get smoked. I don't think it was an early stoppage at all. I think he fucked that guy up. But yeah, Hibero not gonna cut it. My guy Amin with the $20 donor. Appreciate it, my friend, saying keep up the awesome work. Love you as always, my man. Problem Kid saying, I think Cowan lost, in my opinion. Late Chi wasn't really wearing any damage at all, but I do agree it was a split. Again, close fight, but if it did come down to round 3, I would have scored it for Cowan. John K saying, read Tybura decision. I'd be worried about Romanov gassing out, trying to grapple. Possible finishing opportunity for Tybura late. Asher Quinn saying, Boha. Asher Quinn saying, I'm huge on the signing, PFL signing of Shane Burgos. I like it. Asher Quinn saying, I think Dana's shitting his pants. I think they were just happy to let him go. I think they didn't give him the number that he was looking for. And PFL was like, hey, we got you. And you could win $1 million if you win the tournament. John K saying, read Tabura for getting plus 300 or more for my line. Don't know if you want to get that greedy. Well, again, with decision only, it's not a bad look. Like decision only means if it finishes inside the distance, no matter who wins, you get your money back. The only way you lose that is if Romanov wins by decision. Problem Kid saying it's kind of like CFL, XFL, and arena football. Sure, some studs come over every other 5 years, but they're lower tier for a reason. I agree. Todd Clark saying compete with the UFC with the Middle East money. It's tough for anyone would pony up enough to do so. CLIV. Yeah, that's a good way. Maybe that's the way they do it, right? Like UAE has the UAE Warriors, but they're never going to get to the UFC's level. They have accepted that they are the feeder league to the UFC essentially. But yeah, it's gonna take a lot to snatch the UFC's stranglehold on the market. Rick Lewis saying I did Burgos going to PFL go with that bag. I like it as well. Sam Nee saying, do you think Shavkat or Hamza has a higher ceiling? I'd say Hamza more so than Shavkat. Asher Quinn saying, I think a lot of people in the UFC, I think a lot of other UFC guys might fuck off over there once they see what Burgos' show money is in the PFL. I think guys that have accepted that they won't be able to get title shots or they won't be good enough to make it to the top, those will be the guys that eventually go over to the PFL. Problem Kids saying Burgos will clean that division up. A lot of the UFC guys in PFR are smoking the prospects they put them up against. I have to see who else is in that PFL featherweight division before I can truly say that. Let me pull that up here. PFL. Okay, let's look at the 2021 PFL featherweight playoffs. 4 fighters, right? Brendan Loughnane. Burgos could probably beat him. Movlid Khaybuliev. Burgos probably doesn't beat him. Chris Wade. I think he'll struggle against Chris Wade. And Bubba Jenkins. Yeah, I don't know. It's guaranteed that he goes out there and makes $1 million. I want to see if I can talk to Cloudbet and say, could you guys put up PFO like future props, right? Like not this guy wins the PFL tournament and see how much they would put Shane Burgos at. Asher Quinn saying, I think he'll make 300K plus show money for PFL. I don't know if it'll be that much. That'll be nuts. That would be crazy if he makes 300K. I'm thinking closer to maybe 100 to 150K. And another thing, I'm pretty certain PFL only does show money. No, they do show and win. I apologize. Ash Quinn saying that could make a lot of other fighters in similar positions willing to make the jump. Worst case, there's more leverage for fighters to make more in UFC. Yep. Trevor Loden saying Kleenex in the tissue business is a great analogy. There you go. Corey Ipo saying Paulo opened up minus 260. He's now minus 370 and counting. Wow, I didn't realize it got that high. Is it really that high now? Damn. I think the only way to play that fight is usually the KO, which is wow, it's up to minus 160 now. Last time I saw it was at minus 120. That line might be getting away from us. Might have to just stay away from it, honestly. Why House Troll is saying, how much do previous injuries count towards the final pick? Or is it better to give everyone benefit of the doubt and consider them at 90 to 100%? How about Usman's knees plus last hand surgery this weekend? I don't try to put too much into it. Like, I think the last time I really put some stock into somebody coming back from a significant injury was Thiago Santos and his ACL injury or double ACL injury and surgery and rehab leading up to his fight against Glover Teixeira. And Glover was a plus 200 underdog that night. I obviously took Glover there and was happy to cash that, but I try not to put too much stock into it. Like Luke Rockhold, right? He's coming back from a lot of surgeries and a lot of injuries and all that stuff. But the reason I'd look to fade him this weekend is his fragility in terms of his chin and his lack of durability, I should say. So I try not to put too much stock into it because at the end of the day, what is it that they actually look like competing in the cage? Because there have been guys who have come back from, crazy injuries and still go on to win championships and stuff. Ash Quinn saying Burgos last time he was a free agent also got offered a PFL contract and turned down a 6-figure pay raise per fight and turned it down in the past. Yeah, so he was making roughly 20 and 20 before his last contract extension. Then he got that 70 and 75, right? And now I don't think the UFC was like, hey, we're not going to give you much more. So this is kind of your cap, unless you can show us that you're actually championship material. So he's like, you know what, peace. Let's go to the PFL. Let's go make a milli. Asher Quinn saying he's getting future commentary opportunities too. I didn't hear about that. He's going to make so much, and Dana will shoot himself. Again, I don't think Dana is too worried about a guy like Shane Burgos. It's the effect. It's the snowball effect, right? It's like, will more guys actually go out and do that? And we're slowly seeing it but it's gonna take a big name to go out there, like a legitimate recent former champion. I'm not talking about Anthony Pettis type of champion, right? That guy was a champion back at UFC 164. Like not back then. Somebody within the last 2 years that has been a champion. For somebody like that to go to PFL, that's something big. Problem Kid saying, why do all the roid guys keep doing good after getting clean? I want to see those guys get smoked. Yeah. I think you're talking about Josh Quinlan, aren't you? Ash Quinn saying, I think as well, it's very interesting that the guy Budai beat in Dana White Contender Series is getting the same show money in PFL and is now in the $1 million heavyweight final. I hope this shakes up the UFC pay structure. Is it Matthias Scheffel? Is that the guy that he beat on the Contender Series? Is it Budai? No, Budai beat Lorenzo Hood. Who's in the PFL finals now? I know Anti Delia is on one side. Who's he fighting? Is it? Oh yeah, Matthias Scheffel. Yes, yes. Matthias Scheffel actually lost to somebody else. He lost to. It wasn't Budai. Mirzakhanov. He lost to Mirzakhanov. That's who he lost to. Yeah, hilarious that Dennis Goldstov gets pulled out and in steps Juan Adams, and now Scheffel is in the fucking finals. Oh, what a shit show PFL could be. And I think it's absolutely dog shit that these guys decided to go to England to have these last couple fights, which is why those Russian fighters were not able to compete. Hopefully, they got chopped off a little extra because they just got their chances of fighting for $1 million snatched from them. Let's see. No Allen saying Burgos giving me Rory to PFL vibes might be damaged goods. That's a good way of looking at it. Sammy thinks everyone thinks Aldo is going to win, but he's just too low volume and Marab won't stop all day. In my opinion, Marab is the future champ. This is where my issue comes with Marab. A lot of his stuff is takedowns, right? And he's getting a ton of takedowns because guys are just able to get up over and over again. Um, that's why he's getting 20 plus takedowns a fight. Now it's going to come down to whether Aldo will be able to land damage. If he can land damage consecutively enough, and even with getting taken down, if he can continue to work back to his feet but lay damage out, we just saw it, in the Cartwright and Johnson fight. Doesn't matter how many takedowns you land, are you dishing out damage? Will Marab be able to dish out damage from on top? Not 100% sold on that. Aldo's a tough guy. I mean, I'm starting to feel like this might be like a Vera versus Cruz situation where I'm just thinking about the legend a little bit too much. But the mistake I won't make is going 3 units deep on Aldo. Like I'll consider maybe laying a unit on him and maybe a little bit on his KO prop, but that's about it. Marab has holes in his game for sure, but the guy's an energized bunny. The guy has great cardio. We'll see how it plays out, but I think that is a close fight. John K saying Jourdain would announce for September 3rd. Do you think that's too soon for Jourdain? Enough time to recover from that war? The kid's still young. I mean, I think that's more than enough time. That's going to be a great fight, though. I'm leaning Jourdain there, but very much looking forward to that. And also think, being a French Canadian, I think he's very much looking forward to going over there and fighting in Paris. So, yeah. Noel Murphy saying, got my ass beat last night. No more Dana White Contender Series for me. Double down on Costa to try to recoup. Oof. Damn. Victor Lewis saying, who you like in Sandhagen versus Yudong? I'm leaning Sandhagen there. Interested to see what the odds will be once they release those. Betting Prodigy saying, struggle to see a path to victory from Rob. It's also a 3-rounder. I don't think Aldo falls off a cliff in round 3. I agree. And I don't struggle to see a path from Rob. Obviously, takedowns and volume is possible, but on the feet, I think he gets butchered. CG saying, why do you like Tybura over Romanov? I think he has the cardio advantage. He definitely has the striking advantage. He has the much better experience advantage. And if he can, he might not be able to stop a couple takedowns, but if he can get up and make this a tough fight for Romanov, he could definitely start to pull away later in this fight. Do not pay minus 350, minus 400 on Romanov. I am a big Romanov truther, but not in this spot and not at these odds. Corey Ipo saying Cartwright took the hardest shots I've ever seen at the end of round one and didn't leave a mark on his face. Yeah, that guy's face must be made of rubber or something. Mr. Always Prophet saying Dana came out saying the UFC fucked up big time letting him go. Made it seem like one of the matchmakers fucked it up or something. He said UFC don't fuck up big often, but they fucked up there. Interesting. I didn't know that. I think he believes they fucked up because he's such an entertaining fighter. MMA betting prodigy saying Lock, you may not like the Better Call Saul finale. I thought it was perfect for Saul Goodman. I still haven't watched the last season yet, so please don't spoil anything. But I'm looking forward to watching it soon. Ashley Quinn saying, "Did you see the post Dana White contender series interviews yesterday?" Dana was basically like, "Yeah, we fucked the burgers thing up on our side. Not sure what happened." Interesting. I gotta watch that back. Mr. Always Prophet saying Merab is the most entertaining wrestler in the UFC due to his all action. Has one of the best cardio I've seen in the history of the UFC. Was there live for the Marlon fight. That was wild, right? The guy came back from the jaws of defeat and still managed to get the win. Yeah, don't spoil it, Prodigy. Unknown saying, I'm actually surprised more people have not left the UFC for the PFL. I think it's because nobody dreams of fighting for the PFL, right? Everybody dreams of being a champion. And, if you're a guy that still thinks he can be the champion, I get why you're in the UFC. If you're just one of these middling fighters that just continues to get solid fights and stay within the UFC, then it's always good to have that UFC push. But go make a million in the PFL before it gets too saturated with better competition. Jewish Better saying, do you think fights being at altitude should be considered this week when making bets? Kind of, but I don't think it's going to be a big determining factor in how you should be breaking down fights. But good point in terms of bringing that up. Noah Allen saying Jay Perrin talking a lot. Think he gets humbled or knows he'll wrestle fuck. I lean him as the dog here, man. I gotta run the tape still, but I do lean him as the dog. I liked what I saw from his grappling game when I was studying him in preparation for his last fight against Mario Bautista. But this might be a better fight for him against Arichi Lang. Betting Prodigy saying Santos in the distance at plus 500 with the stab. I don't know. I like me some Jared Gordon, but maybe not at Jared Gooden, I should say. Jared Gordon? Jared Gordon. That's what it is. But not willing to pay that shock. Juice Bear saying Santos maybe have the worst cardio in UFC and his 42. Yes. Still manages to pull it out of his ass every now and then. Aaron in the chat, appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Mr. Always Prophet said, I thought Pettis coming out. He has a guaranteed person on the Helwani show. Oh, interesting. Yeah, he was making a fuck ton over there. Pettis has a mental block called overrated. Elevate saying Costa versus Rockhold is the sexiest fight of the year. Costa's going after him. This one, I do believe he gets it done. Yes, Costa by KO is probably the way to go there. Brazilian Rockhold. I like that name there. That's a good name for him. Betting Prodigy saying Marie Schrader made a cameo. Okay, I gotta stop. I don't want any spoilers. None whatsoever. Mr. Always Prophet. Yep. Problem kid saying Leonardo Santos is dog shit. He got mauled by a smaller Clay Guida. That was a hilarious fight. Again, I'm not going to read any of your comments there, betting project. I don't even want to talk about it. Andre Silver saying he has no fucking knees. Corey Yupa saying Paige Van Zandt fight is off due to OnlyFans rectum injury. Lajon Dream saying is probably up back at normal time tomorrow. It should be. From my understanding, it should be. Socrates F saying even Bellator had that 1 year, they got a bunch of ex-UFC fighters. Yeah, Phil Davis, Musasi, Rory, and it just didn't even put a dent in the UFC talent. You are correct. That's a big indicator, right? Bellator has always been that number 2 brand. And even getting the big names that they did, it still isn't doing much of a, impact to the UFC stranglehold on the market. Ashley Quinn saying, yeah, I think this is the start of the snowball effect. PFL poaches a ranked UFC fighter and it raises UFC pay or a bunch more jump over, hopefully. They're gonna have to keep coming though. We'll see. Samney saying Rocco going to beat Costa 29-28. In my opinion, he just needs a knockdown and a takedown. Polish chin is suspect to get dropped 2 and Rocco hits hard. Odds are crazy. I'm not willing to, throw on the chalk on Costa in this spot. But I do think that he ends up clipping that chin and gets him out of there. Ash Quinn saying the England move was awful, absolutely short-sighted. I agree. Pick for Jay Perron versus Mongolian Murderer. Again, pre-tape, I am leaning with the underdog, Jay Perron. Who loses belt first, Izzy or Usman? I'm gonna have to lean with Izzy. I think Usman still has maybe 3 to 4 solid fights left, but like even in those 3 to 4 fights, who is going to be the one to dethrone him? Chimaev, maybe. Um, and then Izzy, like he has Alex Pereira next in November. That's a tough fight for him. Bo Nickel in the wings, just waiting. Maybe they try to fast track Bo Nickel before Izzy gets too old. But yeah, I'd have to lean Izzy ever so slightly. Aaron saying, do you have an idea of what matchup they'll announce for the Diaz Hamzat card? What do you mean? What matchup? Isn't that card like fully set already? Asher Quinn saying Menafield versus Serkinov just got announced. I'm assuming Serkinov's going back up to 205. Is that true? Robert Cello saying Guyton already lost the belt if you have eyes. There you go. Elevate saying agreed about Tybura. He almost fought Aspinall for that fight in London. Yeah, that's true. Aspinall would have destroyed Tybura in a round. Ugh. I don't know. Between Volkov and Aspinall, he served as the backup. Oh, that's what it was. Just by saying that's exactly what we meant. He was upset they'd let go of an exciting fighter. It's not that big of a deal, but great move for Burgos and PFL. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Ash Quinn saying the difficult thing with stuff like fights being at altitude or recently pregnant fighters is you can't quantify it at all. Exactly. So you have to take what you see inside the cage over everything, pretty much. Pat Guida saying, "My dude, what happened to Cruz? I told you your read was way off on that one. It was. It was. He's winning until the KO, but that's pretty much how everybody expected that fight to go. But I was banking on that KO not occurring. Like you're putting a lot of eggs in that basket of that one thing occurring, and it did. Shouts out to you. But at minus 240, how often is that going to continue to happen? That was my point. But credit to you guys for taking Vera. No foul. Wasn't Cruz winning to the KO again? It is what it is. Every week we call fights. I was heavy on the Cruz side. I felt good about Landwehr. Nobody talking about that. I felt good about Nam. Nobody talking about that. But again, I did make a pretty strong stance for Cruz. Aaron saying I like Bellator and last card was actually fire, even though I said it was trash. Corey Yupo saying Cruz was the value play. Pat Cheetah was getting murdered 1-3. I wasn't say he got murdered, and also I believe it was 2-1 going into that third or that fourth round. Again, is what it is. Played out as most people expected it to. I was just hoping that Cruz could avoid that murder shot. Nick Peppiard saying, what do you think about Mike Perry versus MVP? BKFC fight. You know, this is going to be fist against fist, right? MVP is a great all-around striker, but having to just use his fist here, I still think he gets the better of Mike Perry. Betting Prodigy saying, yes, I think Jay can get takedowns. I also like the energy coming from his tweets. Let's go. Again, I appreciate everybody standing up for me about the Cruz thing. Is what it is. We predict fights on a weekly basis. Can't be right about every single one of them. Asher Quinn saying Hamza takes the welterweight belt and moves up and takes the middleweight belt off Izzy. Wow. Big thoughts there from my guy Asher Quinn. We'll see if it comes to fruition, but you know, he's gonna have to, you know, build off that Gilbert Burns fight because I feel like a lot of steam has rolled off of Hamzat's name after having a close fight with Gilbert. But that's what happens when you start taking steps up in competition. BP thoughts on Jotko versus Brendan Allen. I lean Jotko there. I'm wondering if they're going to continue to make Brendan Allen a super chalky favorite. You know, if that Jacob Malkoon fight didn't show you guys, this guy is not a minus 300 worthy fighter. He's a good fighter. You fight for your money. But Jotko could give him some issues here. Problem Kid saying Pat way off. Every judge had Cruz up by rounds. It was 2-1 again. If Bo Nickel was something special, he would have made the Olympic team. Oh, God. BP saying prediction on Barcelos versus Jones. Gotta leave more Barcelos there. I really don't think that Trevin Jones has what it takes to cut it in the UFC anymore. Aaron saying I like Serkinov, but he didn't look filled out last fight, and the cardio LMAO, yeah. I'm assuming he's going back up to I assume he's going back up to 205 pounds, so he should look better, especially if he's fighting Menefield. But can he withstand that big punching power? I don't know. Maybe fight doesn't go to decision there. Because if Serkinov gets us to the ground, he will style on Menefield, in my opinion. Aaron saying, my bad. I thought I read earlier that UFC matchmakers wanted to add a high profile fight to the Diaz Hamzat card. I probably missed that if I didn't see that myself. But like 279 does need a little bit of a push. Socrates, I was saying I was on Nate the train by hearing you on and made me bet a little bit more on Nate. Let's go. Let's go. That's what I love to hear. BP saying also prediction on Vlismus versus Baby Shark. I'm leaning Vlismus myself, or for sure. I lean Vlismus as well. I like me some Baby Shark, but I think Vlismus might be the better overall fighter there. Elevating J Prom making a wave. Hope he can capitalize. Let's go. Might be the dog of the night play if I like what I see on him. Unknown saying I had a line with Cachoeira, Nam, and Landwehr with Quinlan and Benitez. The last piece was Bruno Silva. Come on, man. So close yet so far. Yeah, Bruno Silva really shut the bed there. Should have taken. The fight doesn't go to decision there, my friend. That would have been a great way to cash that bet. Noah Allen saying, we all win, BP. Talking about the Vlismus and Baby Shark fight. You're hilarious. Holland versus Wonderboy. Is that true? I didn't hear that. If that is true, that's a great fight. Mr. Always Prophet saying Bobby Knuckles minus 220 or Vittori plus 190. I lean Bobby Knuckles there, honestly. I think he's the side. Better striker, better wrestler. 3 rounds. Give me Bobby Knuckles. No, Allen said, you horny motherfucker. No, Allen said, Dana said after the contender series, they're going to add a bunch of fights to UFC 279. Well, they don't have much time because it's like a month away, less than a month away. Like just quickly looking at that card right now, it's a little rough. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 15 fights scheduled for that card. How can they add more? Co-main events looking like it's going to be Johnny Walker versus Iwan Kutalaba if we're going off of name value alone. But are they really hoping to have 16, 18 fights? Is that what's happening? No, Allen says Shan will be bone-legged throwing her cat on the UFC roster. Your fucking jokes. Drew Sparrow saying good luck this weekend. Good luck to you as well, my friend. Don't forget, I'll be back tomorrow as well, 4 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday. Bobby Knuckles all day, gift parlay piece at minus 220. I wouldn't even mind taking a bit of a small taking a straight up shot on him there at minus 220 as well. Again, don't be scared to play chalk, guys. Like, don't be scared, especially in a spot like that where you feel quite confident about it. Because what if it's the other leg that fucks it up for you? Just ask Lupi Godinez. Ash Quinn said a guy on Twitter said Holland and Wonderboy is in the works. Nothing from Dorf at all yet, but apparently Holland has an announcement this week. Interesting. If they make that fight, I would lean Wonderboy because I'm sure we're going to get him at underdog odds, considering the public love we normally get on Kevin Holland. And Kevin Holland's not going to look to grapple fuck him the way Wonderboy has been losing his last couple fights, right? Wonderboy is a very tough puzzle to crack, even at the age he's at right now. So if you give me plus money on Wonderboy against Kevin Holland, I'm fucking taking it. Large One Dream saying Holland posted on IG story within the last hour with a poll. Is it Wonderboy, yes or no? And he said, don't believe everything you see on the internet. Wow. Stephen Peck saying Coleman is TBA, only 12 or so are actually official. Interesting. On the wiki page, I'm counting 15 fights. Boob is saying Lupi just has low fight IQ. She had a path to victory, but chose to not go into Angelio's only wheelhouse. Again, I've been saying it all week. I really think we have to give respect to Hill in terms of flashing her knee and uppercut the amount that she was, because those feints alone will scare somebody away from, shooting, especially with the amount of knees that Angela Hill was landing in that fight. So maybe that's what it was. It's not just, you know, Loopy not showing the takedown. So I'll admit this. I expect her to shoot more. I expect her to get a hold of Angela Hill a little bit more, but she just wasn't able to. Jeff K saying Holland is a glory level striker. I don't know. You got to give me sexy odds. I wonder where to take that bait. He's not young. That's true, but he's still going out there and striking better guys. Asher Quinn saying Loopy has since said she was injured. Yeah, I think she had. Todd Clark saying, I bet she was. I think she said she had a hip injury or something like that. Lajon Dream saying Leon said if he beats Usman, he wants a trilogy with him. Beat him, then wants Jorge in London. Wow. Keep your eyes on Usman this weekend, Frizz. Don't even think about a rematch yet. Jeff K saying we are definitely in the midst of a sport wide changing of the guard. Vera Cruz, right? Maybe Marab and Aldo this weekend. Noah said Loopy still outstruck Hill by 10. Live stats had Hill up 20 in the third. Wow. Problem Kid saying didn't look hurt when she rocked her and was smacking her around. Yeah. She landed some big shots of her own, right? I think she rocked her within the first round or the first minute of the first round. Talking about Loopy. All right. That is a wrap on today's edition of the MMA Lock Talk. Always appreciate you guys keeping the live chat popping in here. I know a lot of you guys appreciate the conversations that we're able to have, the interactive nature of this stream. Truly appreciate all that love and support. Please make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends about the show. Tell other people about the show to come in and get the live chat popping even more. If you can't ever listen to it live, and you guys are one of those podcasting folks, you guys can get this on podcasting platforms as well. So make sure you guys go check it out on there as well. Yeah, otherwise, appreciate the super chats that we got this today, or even up to this point this week. That truly means a lot to your boy. Bets will be free this week, obviously, since I took an L last week. But picks will be coming out to the public on Friday. I may look to make some bets tonight and drop them on the Patreon. But yeah, full day ahead still to go. I got the Prediction Strike show with Clint at 7:30 today. Then I got the Gordo Gambled show at 9 p.m. And then I'll be looking to do the MMA Lockcast if I still have a voice come the end of this night. So 2 more streams on this channel coming today. And then a guest appearance later on as well. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later.